So I wasn't intending to come on tonight. In fact, this is my last live video on this subject. So you might want to listen very carefully before it's taken down. In another video that was taken down, I expressed some thoughts related to a dream that I had, but I want to share some information with you that I think is really important. So first of all, not only are we in a spiritual battle, but this is a cultural war. I've used that term on a number of occasions, that we are actually in the middle of a raging cultural war, a vehement cultural war, a clash, if you will. You know, Matthew 24, verse 7 talks about how nation shall rise up against nation. And we know that the word nation there is the Greek word ethnos. It's talking about not only ethnic groups, but it's really talking about ideologies. And so when we look at this whole thing, the stratagem that has been laid out has been a very strategic attempt by diabolical powers to undermine the American government, to undermine democracy, and to unleash an antichrist spirit over our culture, over our nation, and by default, over the world. So I really need you to hear this, because, like I said, I'm not making any more live videos about this issue. So if you wanna hear this, this is the last time I'm gonna say it. And honestly, I don't even know why I'm making this video right now. I'm tired of making videos. Honestly, I don't want to make another video. I really don't. But I realized something very powerful. I want to share these thoughts with you. What I call the weapons of mass distraction. I shared about it earlier. When you talk about a distraction, you're talking about something that draws your attention away from what you should be focused on, so that you will not be focused on what you should be focused on. And so there has been, in many ways, a hijacking of very critical issues in America, very critical, legitimate issues that we should be concerned about, many of which have been hijacked in a very insidious way. I mean, and this is what you're going to see in the next couple of weeks and months and days. You're going to see the narrative literally change. You're going to see the focus shift. It's not going to be about people like George Floyd anymore. That was the segue. But it's going to become about a whole different group of people that really had nothing to do with the original discussion. And that's what's been happening. That's what's going to happen. And so you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention to that. And you need to understand. You need to be discerning in this hour to recognize that there is a bait and switch that's going on. They're going to say they're going to say all of these things. They're going to talk about all of this rhetoric, but then at the end of the day, they're going to flip it. And you're going to find that the main focus will be something that had nothing to do with the original agenda, had nothing to do with the original victims, nothing to do with any of that. And again, listen, I'm tired of making videos, to be honest with you. And this is my last live video on this issue. So with all of that being said, God showed me in a dream the nefarious agenda to take over America. Very insidious ploy, very diabolical. He showed me the dream, but I want to share some good news with you. The good news is that the power of God is going to stop it. And not only that, but I talk about in my book, my most recent book, School of the Miraculous, I talk about how all of these things, first of all, let me go back a little bit. So let me show you the agenda. So the agenda began with global fear and panic. Global fear and panic. Global fear and panic. To get people to be afraid. To get people to be, I'm not just talking about afraid, I'm talking about irrational fear. To get people into a place of irrational fear where they would no longer trust God anymore. And that they would trust a system that didn't have their best interests. So that was the first plan, fear. The second plan was strife and division, to create a climate of strife, a climate of division, a climate of frustration, hatred, bitterness, anger, aggression, right? A lot of what we're seeing. Then the third thing was to shut down the church, was to discredit the church's ability to get people healed and delivered. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want you to catch this. The thing about this is, and again, I talk about this in my book, School of the Miraculous. Make sure you get your copy on Amazon. But I talk about the global awakening, and what's going to happen is from this, here's the good news. From this, there is going to be a global awakening in the body of Christ. This is forcing us out of apathy. It's forcing us out of complacency. It's forcing us out of laziness. And the church is going to begin to seek God in a fresh way. We're going to begin to seek God in the fresh way. Listen to this. Alliances are going to forge. People that didn't even want to talk to each other, that didn't like each other, different streams, different denominations, different pastors are going to be forced to come together. And when we're forced to come together, John 17 will be activated, and we will literally begin to see a unity of the faith. We're no longer going to unify on ethnic This is the beginning of the greatest season of the miraculous power of God that we have ever seen. Regardless of your theology, regardless of where you think you are, things are shifting. There's a shift coming. I declare it. There's a shift. The tides are turning. The tides are turning. And the church, the sleeping giant called the church, is getting up and standing upright so that the earth will know. The earth will know that you truly are Lord and that there's only one name under heaven whereby men must be saved. God, I declare it now. Guys, I pray you share this. If you get a chance, check out my book. I don't know where it is. This one, School of the Miraculous. It will help you. In the later chapters, I talk about the global glory. I believe in, there's a lot of stuff people can talk about right now, but I believe the answer is the supernatural presence, person, and power of God. I love you. Please share this with somebody.